if you miss a weight in training, the first thing you need to do is assess why. Now, this is kind of becomes the difference of a reason or an excuse. If you can find a real reason why you might have missed the weight in training, like you slept really poorly the night before, problems with your diet, outside stress, that's something you can go about rectifying and hopefully make the weight the next time. Now, if you can't find something like that, then the problem is probably going to be either that you're selecting weights poorly, so you need to reassess what you're doing there, or if you're missing like your third rep of what's supposed to be, your third rep on your third set when you're supposed to be doing 5 sets of 5, then you probably are going to look at some degree of overreaching, maybe even starting to venture into overtraining, and will need a deload week.
Using the cambered bar for strength development, in my opinion, is probably the last option I would resort to. It puts the weight in a position that essentially you have the lowest bar position physically possible. It's very, very easy to let your hips rise or to swing the weight forward and backward and change the whole dynamic of the lift. So it's very difficult, I would say, to use that bar effectively or as effectively as other more simple variations of the squat, high bar squats, front squats, etc. Not the first choice I would use. Because of the very low bar position, it's going to make the lift even easier. So in effect, you're going to have a reduced training effect that you'd get from it rather than putting the bar up high like a high bar squat.
If you're struggling with your bench press right off the chest and you don't train with pauses, that's the first mistake you might be making. So make sure you're training more pause benches, longer pause benches. Beyond that, you're going to need to address the strength of your pecs. That can be done really well with wide grip bench presses, paused wide grip, different dumbbell pressing variations, making sure you're getting a deep stretch at the bottom of it. Direct pec work like dumbbell or machine flies are also excellent exercises. Hypertrophy training will also have a very high carryover to the bench press in general, particularly for strength off the chest, because the bigger muscles you make in the pecs and the back, the more improved your mechanical advantage will be. Training with specificity for strongman is kind of like the big question to answer for it. So without context of what the next competition is, it would be nearly impossible for me to give you advice on how to train specifically for it. So in regards to general training for strongman, if you're good at the press, overhead pressing, deadlifting, farmer's walk, stones, and yoke, you tend to be good at about 80–85% of what's in most contests. Beyond that, you need to identify for yourself, are you strong enough to lift the implements? And if the answer is no, then you obviously need to address maximal strength, which is going to be great for gym lifts. Or is your general strength very high, but you need to address special strength with unique strongman implements as well as speed. And then beyond that, just look at what you have in your contest coming up and get ready for the events.
I have a great little system that I teach people to start, to figure out their start in the snatch and clean and jerk. Big thing is we want the bar covering the metatarsal joint, so where the toes meet the foot, and then bring your shin to that position. The bar needs to start in front of us a little bit so that it can travel backwards off the floor. This is a key component of the start position. Another thing that we want to focus on is having our toes pointed out. If it's comfortable for you to do that, go ahead and point them out. Some people may have to have their toes pointed straight forward. Ideally, start out. If that doesn't work, you can move back in. Once we figure out where the bar starts, where the toes are, we can line our shoulders up. Keep the shoulders above the bar, directly above the knee. If we looked at a person from the side, we'd see the toe, the bar, and the shoulders in one line.
When you get into powerlifting, you don't necessarily need to compete right away, but I do think it is important that once you're seriously training that you pick a date for a competition, sign up for it, and just kind of jump in, get your feet wet. Otherwise, you're going to get caught up in the idea of not competing until you're strong enough, and strong enough will always be stronger and stronger and stronger, and maybe you end up never competing. So pick a meet, pick a date, sign up. It'll give you a target. It'll keep you accountable to your training. Also, make sure to check out my video Guide to Your First Powerlifting Meet for a more in-depth look at what you should do to get ready and once you're at the meet. In regards to training for athletes who don't compete in sports that are typically associated with strength and power, stuff like snowboarding or even something like golf, you need to consider, make the same considerations that you do for any athlete who doesn't compete with a barbell. Can they perform the exercise safely? Do they have good technique in it? Are they able to create some output for training stimulus? And does it fit into the greater context of their plan? In regards to, like, let's say a snowboarder, you probably wouldn't, you don't need to be concerned with them adding a lot of muscle mass. Really just looking for general organism strength. Improved leg strength is going to allow for higher jumps, all that kind of stuff, more durability in the knees. So you don't need to be concerned about how much can this athlete squat, just generally getting their legs stronger. For someone like a golfer, mobility needs to be a prime concern. The way I've trained golfers in the past is train them like they're very weak hammer throwers, and I found a lot of success with that.
With the new Juggernaut online coaching programs, we've had a lot of questions about which program is right for you. So here's a quick synopsis of our 3 different levels of coaching. First, club programming. Club programming is great if you're just looking to add some more structure, some expert design to your strength training for powerlifting or weightlifting, but probably not the best decision if you're looking to compete in one of the other sports or if you have a specific competition date in mind, as it's just more general, continuous programming. Team programming is our favorite option. Team programming gives you programming tailored to your size, strength, gender, experience, and goals, control over the timing of the training relative to your competition, and access to our team of coaches for video review. One-on-one programming is going to be your best bet if you need very personalized attention based on a unique competition schedule, injury history, or if you're just looking to make sure that everything is built as specifically as possible to you. So we have 3 different levels of programming, and one of them is definitely going to be a great fit for you to help you improve in powerlifting or weightlifting.